another top hat for it.
All right, boys and girls. The big hand is on something. The little hand is on something else. I know. Welcome. This meeting is called to order, which means we've got.
I was on last meeting.
There you go. We got a big group, so we should do introductions. The routine is name and call sign if you have one, and where you live. We'll start with you, Bill.
Bill Shire, KC802J, and I live 4.5 miles southwest of Cadillac on 115.
Yeah.
Neil B, WARZX.
Ruben Greer, Leroy, have a nice day.
He's getting his. He's working on it.
Amen.
Nikki Greer, we're both working on getting our license.
They're going to take the test at our swap May 2nd, right?
Well, I don't know yet.
Okay. Nick.
Dick Howard, KF8FTO.
At our last meeting, he didn't have a license. Friday, he took a test. Saturday, he got his license. Today, he's probably got his extra, and he built a transceiver out of You got the general? He got the general. Throw him out of the club. Come on, that's not fair. All right, right here. Keith.
Keith, M8KRN, Cadillac.
He's the airport manager that just received.
He's the airport professional of the year.
Yes.
Wow.
Hey, Brandon.
Tom.
Hi, Tom, WB8WIB, Cadillac, and the Brightwood State.
Okay, Herschel, let's go with you.
KC8 HJU, Cadillac.
North Park.
Larry?
Yeah, more or less.
Larry, WNAP, Defunct Village of Marilla, Northeast Manistee County.
Good fishing spot.
My name's Ken, WA8DES. I'm on at Woodward Lake.
Bill.
Cadillac, no call.
Bob, N8BOB, Cadillac.
Les Smith, K8LES, and I'm across the lake from Bob.
Jordan, KF8VIJ, Cadillac.
Bill, N8OZL. I'm halfway between those two guys.
He's my neighbor.
Mike,
Mike, KF8 VCR.
back from
About
Florida.
a quarter of a mile. Was that going to be east of Hill?
Kitty corner from him.
Gordy.
Gordon, WACT, Lake City.
Rob, no call sign. Marion. Tim, N8DDA, Cadillac.
Jeff, N8JAP in beautiful Cadillac, Michigan.
Rich, K8MFC, Cadillac.
Joe.
Steve.
Joe, NAPMF,
Let's get
Lake City.
You don't go.
Mike, WATRP, Cadillac.
And Mike, you got a special guest, right?
Yep, this is my dad, Dan.
Hey.
I'm presenting tonight. He's here to watch, so.
Welcome, Dad. Make sure he behaves, okay? Should we recognize Steve, or should we just ignore him?
No, recognize Steve.
Okay, Steve, you're up.
Steve, W8SJS, Cadillac.
Lee.
Lee, KD8UVN, Cadillac.
Brandy, KC8TXS, Cadillac, not far from Steve.
Van, WA8LKV, Tustin, and I belong to Leah over there.
And they bring the cookies, which is the only reason I come. Now we got some guests here. We'll start with you.
Richard, you live halfway between music and Manton.
Jennifer, same place.
He plays in the orchestra with me. He's a violist. He plays the viola.
Erica, KF8FX.
Oh, you guys are from over Merritt.
Yes.
She reached the repeater with an HT.
That's Erica. Hi, Erica and Bob.
Hi, Bob. He's my first contact.
Yeah, and your name again, Tom.
FXW.
Well, we're glad you came here. Wow, what a group. We're going to have to get a bigger place. Hey, how's that pavilion coming?
Good.
Will it handle all of us?
Well, we're going to get tables and chairs for 50.
So we got a little.
We'll see what we can do.
Grow.
Amen.
All right, let's proceed with the minutes. Brandy?
The minutes of the February 5th meeting. Meeting was called to order at 6:34 PM. Minutes read were, and were approved. Financials were read and approved. We went over the beginnings of the swap on who's doing the what. And it looks pretty good getting started for that in the first part of May. Spring Fling will be April 7th. The sign-up sheet's going around again. Please check out the updated Wexaukee ARC webpage. Thank you, Jordan. Steve noted that there are very convenient ways to test online and plenty of people to assist. And if you do use the repeater, please ID when you key it up, just so that those that are listening know who's doing what. Keith reported that Ray had broken his hip. Please send good thoughts. Swap was February 7th, and we had our ugly project contest at the last meeting. Mike's battery unit prevailed with 4 participants. Please think about what you're building for next year's contest.
Absolutely. Do we have any corrections or additions to the minutes?
For sure, which place the spring fling is going to be.
Lakeside Charlie's.
Oh, it's gonna be at Charlie's, not Berkey's.
Okay.
Okay. We got a motion to approve, second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
With corrections.
With corrections? All right. Thank you, Brandy. Lee, tell us how much money we've got.
We're in the hole.
Hey, go sit down, Lee. We don't need you anymore.
We still have money in the checkbook.
I'm gonna have to. I'm glad you have money in the checkbook. I don't have any in mine.
Well, I borrowed gloves.
I'll be here to run that.
Hey, everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. All righty. So,
What do you need?
well, just, I need the other page.
Oh, I'm gonna have to turn it right here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, you bring, well, I can almost do it in my head. We got $85 we brought in dues, $22 in income for the swap. Or I mean for the 50-50. And, you know, I've been kind of worried a little bit, and I did this last year too, you know, about running out tables. And I went back and looked January and February, we didn't rent one table. Well, we're ahead of the game, we rented a table.
49 to go.
Yep. I think there's about four in the mail, so. Coax, sold some coax, and we had one bill, $24.30 that we get every month for the phone bill, so, to run a repeater. All right.
Is that it?
Well, we gotta go to the next page.
That's all I got.
You had it up first.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know it looks similar, but, okay, so, this, the totals, where did it go to? Okay, see, we got January and then February.
Closer to your mouth, I guess.
Oh, okay, this isn't my mic back in the shack, I guess. Or my cell phone. Okay, so anyway, so these are the totals for the, you know, for the month for each of those categories. And so we've got $900 of expense so far for the year, $302 of income. We're running a deficit of $598. But we paid all of our big bills for the year. Tower. What?
You said it's okay.
Did I make a mistake?
I'll wait till you're finished.
Did I make a mistake?
What year is it?
I added up, made sure that it was right, and I didn't change the year. Okay, all right, I got you. Okay, it'll be changed. Yeah, well, it'll be changed. I'm glad that was the only error. So anyway, we have.
That's my stuff.
Yeah, I thought I brought my sheet up here. See?
There it is. Is it?
Yep. Can't trust anybody. So, we have $2,614.57 in the checkbook. So, we're doing good.
We have a motion to approve? Gordy, second. Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. That's a lot of work. Appreciate it. All right. Now you get to hear from me. Swap update. Jordan updated the website again. We inadvertently left the form for reserving a table off it. What we'd like you to do is, if anybody says, hey, how can I get a table, direct them to the website. This year, we're not going to take orders over the phone or stuff like that. And they have to pay. They can't say, I'll pay you when I get there. We think we had 2 people do that last year that got in free. So, setup is Friday night. Now,
I had an email, and the guy that's buying 3 tables, he wants to know what time we're setting up.
okay, that's a good question. We set up Friday night. The kids from the school are on schedule to help us at 4 o'clock. It would be great if we could have some volunteers there. They do all the heavy lifting, but it's just nice. You know how middle schoolers are. They need some adult supervision. They're good kids. They're great kids. And they did a great job, and they saved us a lot of work. So you don't have to do the lifting, but it'll help get the tables lined up and stuff like that. We got 50 tables. We're not putting anybody in the hall. So once the 50 tables are gone, they're gone. So if you want a table, get it in. We're doing something new this year called a free advertisement for one, usually a big item on your table. So let's say you've got a bunch of little stuff, but you want to sell that ICOM 7300 for $600. Fill that out on the form. You'll see the form in a second. And we will advertise that. We're going to have a poster up that says, hey, table number 23, got an ICOM 7300. Maybe that'll help move stuff. And we'll finalize all our plans our next meeting. I do have about 4 or 5 of the table reservation forms. If you want to pick one up, you can. Otherwise, go to the website. Spring Fling, we already talked about. I know we already did this, but I put a lot of work in. Yes.
Website, WexaukeeARC.org.
.org, yes. I already did this. We did this, but I wanted to really recognize it. So, once again, thank you. Congratulations. Okay, open mic. Anybody have anything you want to say?
Did he tell what time we're
Okay.
That second sheet is going around for the spring fling. If you've already signed the first one, like
Well, that's where the
last
kids
club
show
meeting, don't sign it again. It's there.
See, you gotta get the tables in there first.
People know about it or decided they're gonna get it. And I'll collect it as soon as everybody's done with it.
Gordy.
Somebody contacted me about buying 500 foot of 75 ohm coax. That answers my question. I forgot the email, so I didn't know who I was supposed to ask. It's in the car. So I'm done.
So Lynn, the tables are gonna be set up at 4, right?
Kids are setting all the tables and chairs up.
Okay, so what time can I tell them safely they can come in to set up?
I'd say after 6.
Okay,
And unfortunately, I have to be there till Roger leaves, and Roger doesn't leave till like 10.
okay,
But don't tell anybody.
all right.
Then come set up. and leave.
Rich and I will be there at 4 to pick up signs.
Very good.
Okay.
Any other? Yeah. Would you talk about summer camp at the airport for kids? And he's got plans for us.
Actually, there's 2 events coming up that we're gonna try to do. One is the summer camp. And so it's gonna be Monday through Friday, like 9 till 2, something like that time frame. We hope to break it into 10 modules. We're trying to get them, aviation oriented. This is an aviation camp, but I'd like to have some electronics, a module on electronics or radios or anything that would help expose kids to that area. I think that's an important area that we want to do. We'll also have probably a drone module, so the CAMS group will probably want to participate in that piece of it. And then for Wings and Wheels, we are trying to really expand the drone zone because there's so much opportunity there for drones now that we're looking to see how many different groups we can have that would come in and do a demonstration for the kids. So the CAMS group is on the list to do something there, and we're looking for other groups. We're going to try to go to the normal ones, the emergency management, Michigan State Police, and so forth. But I just wanted you to be aware of both of those things. And obviously, we're going to have the booth for the amateur radio team this year again. And also, as of today, pretty much the framework is up for the pavilion. So we're hoping it should be supposed to be complete by June 1st. So hopefully we can use the pavilion as our location for the field day this year. And then hopefully we can do the monthly meetings there. I think 50 tables and chairs for 50.
Oh, that'd be great.
Be a good start, and then we can raise $1 million more so we can build another $500,000 more room.
We just need to make sure Van and Leah know how to get there so we get cookies.
Okay.
Got a question.
Yes.
When is the summer camp?
I want to say it's the last weekend or week of July, but it's not firm yet. We're trying to have a meeting next week by the airport.
Once he gets it out, I'll make sure you all get the dates for that. Put it on your calendar.
Will the sign up for that be at the airport, on the airport website?
We don't really have a website. We do, but nobody knows how to get into it, so we're working on that aspect of it.
Jordan, but if you head out to the airport,
That's an opportunity.
Okay.
If you know of somebody, we can take early
I'll find out.
I'm sure Jordan could probably handle it for a fee, couldn't you, Jordan?
He just said he's got a fee for it.
So we're looking to hopefully have 30 kids for the camp. So the last time we did a camp was 2 years ago, and we had 14 kids. By the end of the week, we had 10. So we're hoping that we can get 30. We've got a lot of interest. The 4-H club, there's one in Wexaukee and in Wexford, and they have an aviation module. They have kids come in every 2 weeks and do something related to aviation, and yet they know nothing about airplanes or anything. So they volunteered to do a module or two at the summer camp also. But it's something that I could see we could get amateur radio into the 4-H clubs and have them do that. If they don't know airplanes, they don't need to know radios.
We know radios. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, you've got the club activities. We know what they are. They haven't changed. Old business, I wrote down, we had talked last meeting about getting an email address for the club. And I can't remember who was going to do that. It was probably me. Did anybody volunteer to get us an email?
Just a Gmail address?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Someone's already got
A Gmail address?
Yeah.
For the club?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it seemed very
Jim knows about that.
on brand.
What's it about that?
It's WRC gmail.com. I had to set that up for the YouTube.
Well, who gets it when, if somebody sends an email to that, who gets it?
I'll have to look.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. Follow up on it.
Hey, question.
Yes.
We've got an ARRL membership for the club, right? As affiliated club?
Yes.
Then we should use the forward from there. We could take, and somebody catches that email and we could forward through that. Because that's like my W8CT forwards to my Gmail address from the ARRL. So that could be set up however you want it. Whoever you want to get the mail, you just change that forward.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. If you wanted Tim to get the mail, we just go there.
Okay. You want to do that?
Whatever it takes.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
I'll get with you.
All right, new business. Yes.
I just talked with Jeff. He bought a really nice handheld for the kids, and I called the school, and none of those kids have any interest about getting an amateur radio license, which in some ways that surprises me, in other ways it doesn't. But he bought a really nice handheld to the kid that got a license, and I just asked him to be okay. We'll use that to swap and give that nice handheld to whoever takes the test. The youngest amateur to pass the test will get that handheld.
Oh, that's fantastic. Jeff, thank you very much.
Thanks, that youngest amateur might be 55, we don't know. Whoever the youngest amateur is will get that handheld.
That's a great idea, thanks. Other new business. Rich, you've got some business up here. Come here.
Who?
You.
I got business?
Yes, you do. Get right up here.
I didn't do it.
You're the new treasurer. You're Lloyd.
For the last 3 or 4 years at least, maybe longer, he has generously let us use his property for field day. Now, we all say we're going to come help set up, but by the time we get there, he's got things all cleaned out, swept out. After we leave, he's got to clean up our mess.
And I haven't got much stuff out there either, so it's not like it's a big job.
Yeah, we know. Anyway, this is for you. It says it's a certificate of appreciation honoring dedication to the ham radio community. This certificate is proudly presented to Rich Goodman, KE8MFC, in recognition of the generous use of your property for field day. We appreciate the time and work you contributed to make it a safe and comfortable venue for this event.
Did my wife get one for the food?
Just wait a second. And we would be remiss to not express our gratitude to your lovely wife for her culinary offerings, which kept us well fed and overweight. Thanks, Rich, for your hospitality, 73, and best wishes from the Wexaukee Amateur Radio Club.
Just like the Santa Claus, now once you have it in your hand, you're the new president.
Right. Also, Brandy had a hand in the food there too.
No, I just tell my husband what to do.
Well, it was good anyhow.
She who shall be obeyed.
Yes.
Somebody was leaning on the keyboard up there. I don't know.
We're going to take a break and I'll see if I can fix this. Any other new business?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
All right, we take about a 5 or 6 minute break. We've got cookies, we've got raffle tickets, 50-50. Would you please make sure our guests here and over there introduce yourselves and give them a lot of propaganda about becoming an amateur radio operator. All right, take a break.
Talking specifically about Western fires because Michigan's on an 800 system that they don't want us meddling with. So
They don't want to what?
they don't want us meddling with the 800 system.
Okay.
So a little bit about me. I work for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources in the Forestry Division. My day job is forestry, easements, utilities, that sort of stuff on state land. But like many people in the Forest Resources Division, I get to fight wildland fire as well. I've been doing wildland firefighting since 2018. I'm a qualified engine boss, incident commander type 5, intermediate faller. And then in 2022, I got into communications. So I started as a radio operator, which is the person sitting behind the radio talking to the people on the line. From there, I moved up the chain a little bit, and in 2025, I got qualified as an incident communications center manager and a communications technician. So with the Michigan DNR, I get the opportunity to go out west to large fires. I've been on communications assignments to Idaho, Oregon, and Wyoming now. Those are usually 2-week assignments. You can extend up to 3 weeks, 16 hours a day, sleeping in a tent. It's a lot of fun, very tiring, good overtime. One neat thing I got to do this past year, I got to work on the NWCG IPTM, that's a mouthful. It's the National Wildfire Coordinating Group Incident Performance Modernization and something else, I can't remember, committee. to actually revise the national standards for the radio operator and incident communication center manager positions. So those got published back in June. So I was part of a team of 4 people that really pulled those positions apart and rebuilt them for the modern day. They hadn't been updated since '96. There was a lot of stuff in there about running Ethernet cable. So we cleaned that up. And then yeah, in December of 2025, I received my technician class amateur radio license. I got into ham radio mostly to learn more about radio and get better at this stuff. So before we begin, I want to put some guardrails on this conversation. NWCG equipment is designed for people without professional radio experience. There's a joke in Wildland Comms that there's box techs and there's radio techs. Box techs are the one-cat firefighters who know how to open the box, turn the switch to a certain setting, and walk away. And then there's the radio techs who actually know how to use radios, know how to run coax. I am just now starting to dabble into the deeper radio side. Up until very recently, I would have been considered a box tech. So if anybody has any technical questions, I may not be able to answer. So real quick, this is the structure of a communications unit on a western wildfire. The logistics section chief is a really high-ranking position. It's in the command and general staff. The communications unit leader reports to the logistics section chief. So everything underneath that dotted line is considered the comms unit. So under the COML, you have the communications technicians, incident communications center managers, and then the radio operators. This is my current level of qualification. It will be a long time before I make the jump to COML. That is a very high responsibility position. I need a lot more reps. So you may be wondering why I'm wearing this silly get-up. So communications technicians are required to be fire line qualified. That means we have to wear NOMEX clothes, carry a fire shelter. I have to do a fitness test each year to maintain my ComTech classification. INCMs and radio operators are not required to be fire line qualified. So when I get ordered to a fire out west, this is often what I show up to. This is a very typical communications unit. Sometimes if we're lucky, we'll have 2 yurts, but usually it's only one. You'll have radio operators sitting in one side, actually working through the broadcast, talking to people on the line, and then you might have ComTechs on the other side, building the radio programs, testing the equipment. So this is a fire camp I was at in Idaho, I believe, a number of years ago. And I want to say this was when I was in Stanley, which I found out is the coldest place in the lower 48 because it's at elevation in a bowl. It was getting down to 15 degrees at night. So I'm going to pass this book around if anybody's interested in looking at it. I'm going to make sure it makes it to both sides of the room. That is what is informally known as the ComTech Bible. That is a great big book with all the equipment, how to set it up, how to hand jam the radios. There are dozens of different kits you can order from NIPSI. These are some of the very common ones. So the VHF command repeater, the UHF logistics repeater, ground aircraft links, solar panels, and then radio kits. So radio kits ship with 16 handheld radios in them. The VHF radio kits are exclusively Bendix King. The UHF radio kits have Motorola's, Midlands, and BKs in them. People out on the line are typically only issued VHF radios. The UHF radios are reserved for like a camp net for security to talk around on or for ComTechs doing testing. And then a couple fun facts. So when I was serving on the IPTM committee this past spring, I got to tour the radio cache in Boise, and I was told that the radio cache at the Boise airport for NIPSI is the most valuable non-military radio cache in the world with roughly $40 million in equipment.
Wow, wow.
So another thing to consider when you're out on a big western wildfire, there is typically not good access to electricity. All the handheld radios are powered by AA's. So the deputy chief of NICD told us that when it's PL5, which means really ripping, low staffing, tons of fires, they're shipping out 225,000 AA batteries per day.
Wow. Energize your bunny. Oh, this is nice.
So how do we design a radio system on a fire? Sites for repeaters are selected based on a lot of factors. The current fire location, where we expect it to go, where's the camp, what's the topography like, what's the access to the site? That's a big one that gets overlooked a lot. Can you hike to it? Can you drive to it? Do you have to fly to it? A lot of times we have to consider permission. So is it private land? I was in Eastern Oregon in 24 in an area that very much did not like the Forest Service, and we had to be very careful where we were going. And then environmental considerations. This is actually a big one. You know, there's a lot of wilderness areas out west, and wilderness area regulations do not stop for wildfires. So you do not get to cut trees in wilderness areas to get your repeater in. Systems are typically designed in a program called CalTopo. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. So this is what a CalTopo map looks like. The one on the left I cleaned up quite a bit just to kind of demonstrate what a system looks like. The red perimeter here is the fire perimeter. Each of the blue points is a command repeater, so a VHF repeater. And then actually this was a shared site with our hub, which is a UHF repeater. So you have a 120,000 acre fire right here. One VHF repeater is not going to cover it. So we ended up dropping one down here that had a great view shed into the southern part of the fire. This one covered the northeast. This one covered the southeast. And this one covered the lobe up here. And all of them were linked to a UHF repeater here, which allowed radio traffic to be rebroadcast on each of the VHFs.
Next question. Are those all on the same frequency, or each of the VHF have a different frequency and then a UHF link back to the center?
Typically the VHFs have a different frequency, so in your comms plan you'll have, like on this fire, it would have been command 7, command 8, command 9, command 10, and depending on where you're working on the fire, you switch to that particular command repeater. But then it is all linked through UHF, so it gets rebroadcast out.
Okay.
How many people might have been were deployed on a fire like that?
I want to say at the peak on this one there was maybe close to 2,000. And our communications unit at first was me and a communications unit leader. It was a very busy couple of days till we got more staff in. This was really the fire where it was kind of sink or swim, and I felt pretty confident in my abilities after this one. There wasn't much of a safety net. Real quick, so again, I cleaned this one up so it's a little easier to see. The one on the right, CalTopo is a collaborative program, so you can build a map, share it with people, they can get in. That is what the map looked like by the end of the fire. Pretty crazy. All the color is modeled RF. The red points are locations where we were doing radio checks. Blue points they're called drop points. They're just identified locations on the fire where you can get equipment dropped off, where you can meet up. A lot of the squiggly colored lines are access routes for the particular repeaters. You can see gates on there. You're gathering a lot of data, and CalTopo is a really robust program, especially for being in browser. So if anybody has the book, this is
You're not getting it back.
That is available free online.
That's cool.
It is, it's pretty neat. So this is what the module looks like on a VHF repeater on top and a UHF repeater on the bottom. This is where I really hope nobody asks me any technical questions. So when a firefighter makes a transmission on their handheld on VHF, it comes in on the receive side VHF. It is kicked over to the transmit side on VHF and UHF, and I color-coded orange VHF, blue UHF on this demonstration. And then it's rebroadcast. So it's rebroadcast out on VHF, and it's rebroadcast out on UHF. That UHF is received on your hub, and then rebroadcast back out. This is a really typical setup. This is not the only setup. You can do simplex setups with UHF. You can do single VHF repeaters, depending on how big the fire is. Typically, though, when they start hitting the 100,000 acre mark, you get into a linked system where you have a hub. Everything's talking through that. So how are the systems installed? The repeaters, batteries, solar kits, and poles are transported, ideally by vehicle, but sometimes by foot or helicopter to the selected location. They're installed and tested on-site by communications technicians. And typically we don't make repeaters available until the next operational period. So the comms plan gets updated daily. We don't want to put a repeater up at 2 o'clock and hope that people are going to hand jam it in correctly. We'll put out a new clone. Everybody will have to come to us at briefing, get their radio recloned. This was a site on this fire. I believe this was Command 10, so this one way down here, well south of the fire, but you can see what a gorgeous view we had. The fire was on those mountains in the background. Repeaters anymore are powered typically by solar with sealed lead acid backups. I've heard that I came into communications technician at the right time because up until very recently they were wiring together lantern batteries to power these things.
Wow.
Where together what?
You got a lantern.
Lantern batteries.
Lantern battery, okay.
And you gotta hump all that crap in.
Yeah, forget that.
So this was another location on that fire on the northeast side. This was a site accessible by pickup. And this was actually our aircraft link. And so we will have an AC link that will go to AM and then rebroadcast it, I believe, on VHF. And that's kind of a closed system for the airbase to be able to talk directly to the air-to-air frequencies on the aircraft on the fire. So this was a nice, easy drive-up site. You can kind of see the grass is disturbed. We dug all the vegetation away the best we could so that if this hill did burn over, hopefully the equipment would survive. That's the AM antenna on the right, and then actually it looks like it was UHF on the left. Solar panel in the front. This was a hike-in site. Fortunately not a long hike. It was about a quarter mile from a 2-track. It was up a pretty steep rock scramble. Those are heavy kits, and it's best to have a few contacts if you have a hike-in site. That's why site selection is really important, because you may have a ton of resources at the beginning of the fire, lots of manpower to help you haul it up the hill. Whoever's cleaning up the fire may not have that many people. So ideally, you try and find drive-up sites wherever possible. This was a VHF command repeater. The fire had spread down a slope, and our current system wasn't covering it, so we threw this one up as a real quick fix, got it on the system. And this one we actually hot swapped that day. So this one had the same frequencies as a repeater that was already up. We got this one set up. We called Comtech sitting at the other repeater, and we turned this one on and they turned that one off at the exact same time. Yeah.
That's cool.
And this was a fly-in site. I work for the Michigan DNR. I'm also a part-paid firefighter on the city of Cadillac, and so I told them if they'd let me borrow their flag, I'd get them a cool picture. I really don't like flying in helicopters. I try and avoid it. Usually there's other Comtechs who really enjoy flying in helicopters, and I let them do it. This particular fire, I didn't have a choice. We had to get a repeater up here. So took that little Type 3 helicopter. You have to do a crew manifest and equipment manifest, so you have to know the weights of everything. You have to know your weight, and make sure that you're actually within the weight capacity the helicopter can fly at the altitude you're going to based on the conditions. This repeater I set up by myself. I think it took me close to a half hour, and the winds really picked up while I was setting it up. That was a very uncomfortable takeoff. That was when I decided I didn't like flying in helicopters. And sometimes sites are only accessible by ski lift. So, believe it or not, this repeater was still working. It was not working well, but it was working. This one we hauled up to the top of Mount Bachelor in Oregon on a ski lift. The liaison officer on the fire got a hold of the lift company. They let us ride it up to the top. We installed it, and this was late season. About a week later, this was our link to the airbase, and they started saying, like, hey, we can hear you, but you can't seem to hear us. And, well, we better get up there and look at it, and this is what we found. Those poles are inch and a quarter maybe, so just think about the wind that it took to build the ice up and actually push those over. This was, I want to say it was at like 9,400 feet, so it was up there. And then how systems are maintained. So each of the repeaters has a voice board in them. You can send a DTMF code to the repeater. Cool. Typically we do it daily. Bill Forsyth at NICD is the lead engineer, I believe, and he was kind enough to record his voice for the voice board. And so every single morning, if you turn your radio on early enough at a fire, you'll hear powered from solar 11.7 volts, open circuit, alkaline 12.1 volts. So the Comtechs each morning will do voltage checks on the repeaters. Typically the solar does a really good job keeping the voltages up, unless it's a really heavy use repeater, or it's baked in smoke, or the weather turns and it's not getting much sun. You can see here, like Command 7 on this particular fire was probably our most heavily used one, and it managed to stay on solar the whole time. It started at 12.3, it made it down to 11.5, but then we must have gotten some good sunny days, and it got back up to 12.0, 12.4, 12.4. The repeaters are smart, so they will switch from solar to the SLA backup when it hits a certain point. I want to say like 10.8. And the way you can tell is when you do that voltage check in the morning, it will say powered from alkaline open circuit solar. So that's when you know it made the flip. Regardless of the power and what we're seeing on the DTMF, we try and visit every site every 2 or 3 days. Equipment's very regularly damaged by animals, weather, curious individuals. In my first assignment to Oregon in 24, we had the aircraft link go down, and that was one we had co-located on a big AT&T site up on a hill. And so we went up there and we got to the box and the lid was open and there was about 10 inches of water in it. So our best guess is that a curious AT&T technician had popped the box open to see what it was and then forgot to close it. And that one had to get shipped back to NICD and replaced. I haven't seen it myself, but I know people who've had grizzly bears tear apart their repeaters. Cows walk through the guy wires. Obviously, we saw a picture a few slides ago, they can be damaged by weather. So again, it's really good to get up every 2 or 3 days and just check on the equipment, dust off the solar panel, make sure everything's working right. There's tests we can do at the kit that we can't do from back in camp. But that is generally how systems are maintained. I can go into a lot more detail on a lot of this stuff. If you guys want to have me back someday for any particular part of this, I could talk for hours about this. I really love comteching. I tried to do my best to not go out as a rado anymore because comteching is a lot more fun. And before I open up for questions, this was last year in Wyoming, and that fire got uncomfortably close to the camp to the point where they were making plans to move camp. Fortunately, they did a big burnout along that kind of treed ridge there and caught it before it rolled down the hill and into us. And I think this was the comms tent right here. So that's a pretty typical fire camp. This was a little smaller fire. I think we only had like 600 or 700 people on this one. And talking about topography, this was in the Tetons. And I got ordered to this fire about midway through my assignment. They told me where it was. I opened up CalTOP and I was seeing the topography was just, oh my God, where are we gonna put repeaters here? NIFC likes you to use as little equipment as possible because when it gets busy out there, they will actually start running low. And so you try and design a system that uses as few repeaters as possible. You don't just throw 8 of them up there to get immaculate coverage. It's kind of do more with less. And we did end up getting a pretty good system on this fire.
That's cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Questions?
Do they use any APRS so that they can track where the different people are?
I think that's in the lab right now. A lot of the new BK radios have GPS receivers in the antennas, but nothing is linked up to the system right now, so we can get locations off of people. Some of the people who are more savvy with their handhelds can get their lat long right off the BK and give it to us. But as far as I know, I think they're having really high-level conversations about how to track people, but it's probably years away.
Do the frequencies, do they fall from like NIFOG stuff? Do you happen to know?
So NIFC, I believe, has their own frequencies designated. When it gets really busy, so command repeaters, I think, go command 1 through command 6, and those are the set NIFC frequencies. When it gets really busy and the communications duty officer is having to figure out how to slot new fires in and not have them walk on each other, they'll get special frequencies and they'll start borrowing them from other federal agencies. I don't know if they take NIFOG frequencies or not, but I've heard they've borrowed Postal Service frequencies before, and at that point they just program them into those repeaters and ship them out like that. But those are kind of like the non-standard ones. This fire, somebody did actually set up a FEMA repeater on it, the county radio tech. And so when I came in, I got that frequency from them, I programmed it into the radio, and the next day, everybody told me it wasn't working. And so I called the county radio tech up and I said, hey, your FEMA repeater's not working. He said, oh yeah, I know. I set it up, I tested it, didn't work, I didn't take it down. So that was actually the first time I've ever seen a FEMA repeater on a fire. But typically it's a really closed system, like NIFC and NICD has their frequencies, their equipment. We usually put VFire 23 in most handhelds just as a kind of standard interop channel, but other than that, no, it's typically their own stuff.
Nick.
No radio question, but do you use any SCBA?
No. Nope, nobody on Wildland Fire to this point uses SCBA's. The Forest Service, I think, is doing some studies on, small portable ones and stuff, but you wouldn't be able to put a full like structure fire SCBA on somebody on a hand crew who's digging for, 12, 14 hours.
Do you use it in town?
Yes, in town, yeah, but not for Wildland.
Okay, Nick, I know, not Nick, Mike.
Yep.
I know you could talk forever, and most of them can listen forever, but I'm heading home to watch Michigan State play basketball. We gotta get out of here. Now, if you want to stick around, I'll stay, and you can ask him questions, but that was really great, wasn't it? Thank you. All right, now, get your tickets out. There's big money to be had tonight. Leah's picking out the winner. She can be bribed if you get over there fast. Okay, here it is. Listen up. Listen up.
Okay, magic number. Last 3 digits are 4, 2, 1.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
We are now adjourned. Stick around if you want. Talk to Mike, read our gifts, get another cookie. I'm out of here in about a half hour.